A montage of endless doors from Get Smart, Airplane 2's voice-activated sliding doors, Star Trek's transporter room. The old shows fade to black. Text: New Normal, an embodied novel. A bright red, glittery curtain sweeps open. Chapter 4, The Bed is a Portal. In this film, an old woman and a young woman at home in their own beds. They will both try to use their beds as a portal to go somewhere else or be someone else. The first half of the film, they cover and uncover themselves from the blankets, the sheets, full body or bits of body, and alternate between the beginning of getting up and the ending of lying down. The film shifts from a view of each bed over and over, an exploration of attempts. Brightly lit, the beds are both shown from above. The young woman's bed, white sheets with gray diamonds, the old woman's gray with white zigzags near a window. As the days pass, the women show up in different clothes. They continue to grapple with using their beds as a portal. The young woman in all blue, body curled beneath the sheet, frees a leg. A hand emerges. The old woman in a sleeveless nightie tucks herself under the sheet, the conscious, unconscious exposing of body, movement, feelings. The young woman, one leg hugged in, now sits up, reaches, and covers the camera with her hand. The old woman, now dressed atop the sheets, hand rolls and comes to rest, caresses the sheet. The young woman, now in gray above the sheets, her hand meanders across her shoulder. Both arms raise up to her head. They continue one after the other to explore, twist, relax, drape an arm over the forehead, boot one leg out of the sheet. The old woman, crosswise at the foot of the bed, clasps her ankle as she folds herself. The young woman, a slow, peaceful roll onto her side, extends one arm, then the other. Shifts hips. The old woman, knees bent, turning, one leg following the other, rolls onto her side. The young woman, hair in her face, folds an arm, turns her head, pulls in her leg, foot flexed. Now on her belly, pulls up a leg and arm. The old woman twists her hips right and her torso left, drapes an arm over her forehead, falls into stillness, belly rises with breath. The young woman, a slow shift, crosses arms over chest, head falls to rest, tilted. Breathes. Snap to black. Now the old and young women are compelled into effort to get into and out of their beds. They rely on gravity and often abandon themselves to falling into bed. To get out of their beds, struggle, momentum over and over. The old woman's bed top sheet pulled tight. She steps in, then flops down on her belly in a black dress with gray diamonds. The young woman's bed, empty, crinkly sheets, falls slowly onto the bed, rolls languidly onto her stomach. Her back rises and falls with breath. Rising and lowering, rolling, stepping onto the bed, dropping to the pillow, they breathe, sit up, fall back, wait. The old woman steps up on hands and knees. She folds back, leans, slips her feet under the sheet, and relaxes into the pillow. The young woman crawls in, stills herself in a fetal position. The zigzag bed empty, the old woman tumbles onto it, flops one arm and leg down onto the other. A calf muscle twitches. The crinkled sheets undulate as the young woman carefully log rolls from the end up. Lands at the pillow, folds to an angle. She draws up to sitting, waits, plops down. A dent in the middle of the zigzag bed slowly rises, and the old woman throws herself down diagonally, exposing her underwear. She twitches, then is still. Crinkles, quickly tosses her body down onto her side, still. The old woman crawls onto the bed, splays out on her belly. The young woman sits on the side of the bed, leans onto one arm, limb by limb, comes onto the middle of the bed, pushes back her long hair, and comes to rest. The old woman in stillness on her belly, startled to alertness by the cell phone alarm, lurches off the bed. The young woman's back. She's on hands and knees, now steps off the bed and away. From her side, the old woman sweeps her legs toward the edge of the bed. A large scar across her hip. She grasps her leg, unfurls herself, stands. The young woman on her back, knees up, raises up, begins to push herself to standing, pauses. Rises and strides away. The old woman lounges on her side, pulls legs in, rocks her weight, stands, and leaves. The young woman in a star shape on her back peels herself up, pushes herself off the bed, backs away. The old woman glancing at the window, diagonal, pondering. Sits up, pushes to standing, leaves. The young woman begins to lift her head, then sits up, pulls her legs in, shifting weight into hands. She inchworms off the foot of the bed. The crinkled sheets. Then she launches back onto the bed on her side, left palm up. The old woman on her stomach quickly rocks her body to the side and hurriedly leaves the bed. The young woman on her back, bent knees propel her, quickly stands. Empty zigzag bed. The old woman wears a red backpack, sits on the edge with an orange knit purse in her lap. Leans back, holding a cell phone with earbuds. Carefully lowers onto her back, pushes the purse as she rolls to her side, waiting, waiting, waiting. The young woman in black shorts, gray sweatshirt, leopard scarf, rummages through a black speckled gray bag. A blue child's backpack and an iPhone beside her. She takes out an iridescent notebook from her bag, pulls out a green lunchbox. The old woman on her side holding her phone, puts in one earbud, takes out the other. The young woman on her side, first aid kit, pill bottles, gloves by her, rolls. Now picture in picture both women, the young woman opens the lunchbox and snacks. The old woman settles the purse on her hip, reclines. The young woman taking small, slow bites. The young woman now fills the screen as she chews carefully, closes her lunchbox. Snap to black. The glittery red curtains sweep open to a black screen. Credits. Choreography by Justine A. Chambers. Music by Kage. Novel by Margaret Dragu. Performed by Justine A. Chambers, Margaret Dragu. Dragu Worker International.